There are moments in life when you realize that everything is about to change. For me, one of those moments, probably the most defining moment of my adult life, was sitting in an interrogation room in an FBI office. And honestly, I can still remember that room. I can remember the silence, the confusion, the fear and anxiety that I was having, the realization that my life that I thought I understood was suddenly gone. And what people don't understand about moments like that is they don't just affect your circumstances, they affect your identity, who you think you are, how you carry yourself, how you show up. That day forever changed something in me. And honestly, this entire book that I just released about a month ago is that's where it all really started. I think that one of the hardest things about pressure is how normal it can start to feel. You wake up, you start taking care of your responsibilities, you go to work, you're managing schedules, you're managing your stress and your stress level, just trying to hold everything together. And while, and after a while, you really stop questioning it. You just start to operate inside of this. I think a lot of fathers live this way year after year after year. And it's not because they don't care or they don't want to try. It's not because they're bad fathers, but it's because life slowly pushes people into survival mode. And survival mode changes people quietly. Your tone changes, your patience changes, your presence changes. And the dangerous part is that it usually doesn't all happen at one time. It happens slowly, slowly enough that you barely even notice it happening until one day you don't fully feel like your old self anymore. And you wonder why you feel so out of touch or disconnected. I remember leaving the FBI office that day feeling completely lost internally. I wasn't just scared, I was disoriented, I was confused. And because moments like that, they forced me to confront something very uncomfortable, that life can change faster than I ever imagined. And suddenly I found myself asking questions that I never thought I'd ask myself before. Who am I now? How do I move forward? How do I show up for my family while internally I am just struggling so bad myself? And that started one of the hardest battles of my life. And honestly, I think there's a lot more people that understand that feeling than they'd like to admit. And maybe not through the exact experience that I went through, but through loss or pressure or failure, maybe divorce, some type of identity shift, some type of pain that's been brought to you. You know, life has a way of humbling people, and sometimes it quietly breaks us apart, and we never expected it. I think a lot of people are out there right now functioning, but they're not fully present. And there's a big difference. You can physically be somewhere while mentally be completely somewhere different, thinking about stress, thinking about money or pressure or your job or some personal problems that you may be having. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? Things like that. And after a while, you stop fully experiencing your own life and what's going on directly in front of you. And that realization hit me really hard because I realized I was still showing up physically. I was still there, but emotionally I wasn't there in nearly the way that I wanted to be and needed to be. And honestly, that's a painful fact to admit, especially as a father, because you love your family deeply. But pressure is one of those things that slowly pulls pieces of you away. And oftentimes you're not even aware of it. I think one of the biggest realizations I had is that life is rarely shaped by huge moments. It's shaped by small ones. The little conversations, the small routines, the rides home, the attention, the patience, just the presence, the way you respond when you're exhausted or there's things on your mind. Those small moments become relationships. They become the memories. And sometimes, you don't realize how important those moments are until they're completely gone. And that hit our family hard in like the basketball world, for instance. I had to watch my son go through two ACL tears, watching something he loved completely taken away. And it hurt us so deeply because basketball was never just basketball for our family. It was a time together, it was memories and connections and identity. And all those moments that he went through, which ultimately led him away from the game, quickly remind you how life can change just like that. I didn't write this book because I thought I had all the answers or wanted to give the answers. I wrote it because I know what pressure feels like. I know what it feels like to quietly lose parts of yourself while trying just to keep moving forward. And honestly, writing this book really forced me into some very uncomfortable places emotionally. Vulnerability is not a strong point of mine or most men. Places I would never really talk about publicly, I had to share. But I realized something. A lot of people are silently carrying things. They're carrying things they've never really processed. And silence has a cost. The response to the book has honestly really surprised me, especially hearing from people that, thought this book was written for only fathers, but it spoke to them. And because at its core, still here isn't just about fatherhood, it's about pressure, it's about presence and identity and relationships and all the small ways that life changes over time. If there's one thing that I hope people can take away from this conversation, it's this: life moves really fast. And if you're not careful, you can spend years physically present while emotionally you're completely disconnected from your own life. The small moments matter. The way you speak matters. The way you listen matters. The way you show up matters. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And if pressure or struggle has quietly changed how you've been showing up, and you're starting to realize that, or maybe have realized that, you're not alone in that at all. And that's a big, big part of why I wrote this book. So if this conversation resonated with you, Still Here is available now on Amazon. And I've also started working with fathers and others directly, a small number of group around these exact type of conversations. Either way, I appreciate the fact that you're here and tackling this head on.